Hey everybody, so this is going to be a little bit different than some of the videos that I've been making on this channel. What this is going to be is actually going to be a podcast that I'm doing with one of my best buddies, Zach Mauser. And so we kind of talked about why we wanted to make this podcast as like a way to have us kind of have one, to hang out for a little bit. I haven't seen him in a while. And two, because we both work in fitness. He is a personal trainer. He works with adults. I work with kids. And so we just thought it'd be a little bit more interesting for us to have a conversation about how our jobs are different, how they're the same, anything like that. And so what this is the Fit for All Ages podcast. And I kind of go over that in the video, but I really hope that you all like this and hope you enjoy it. Bye.
Hey everybody. So welcome to the brand new podcast made by myself and my good buddy over there, Zach. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of talk a little bit. This is going to be more of the introduction episode, just to kind of know who are we, what we do, all that kind of stuff. But welcome to the Fit for All Ages podcast. That's what we're calling it. So Zach, I'll let you go. You can kind of explain who you are and what you do. And yeah.
Well, hi, I'm Zach Mauser. My name is, oh God, wow, that's terrible. Hi, I'm Zach Mauser. I'm a personal trainer. I've got my degree in exercise and movement science from Missouri State University. I am also a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm certified in, what's it called, like fascial movement systems, fascial movement taping, and some IASTM, which stands for Instrument Assisted Soft Tissue Manipulation. It's those blades that they scrape all over you. And I work with pretty much all ages. I've had clients from like 17 years old. I think I've worked with a 14-year-old on up to someone in their 60s roughly. So kind of a broad range there.
Yeah. And I'll kind of go into who I am for those that don't know. I'm Adam Schilling. I am a elementary PE teacher. I work in California, kind of in the Joshua Tree area, and I work at two different schools. So I kind of go traveling back and forth. Not so much right now with everything that's going on, but I travel back and forth between two schools, and I do elementary PE with kindergarten through 6th grade. And I also got my certification to teach PE from Missouri State University, which is where Zach and I met. And also I am certified in health as well.
Nice. So you're a health teacher now?
Partially.
Ooh.
I do health lessons. I guess that counts as being certified and a health teacher.
Okay.
I have that certification that comes with the PE certification.
Okay. Nice. I live out in Colorado. I guess I should clarify on that. Kind of in the Denver area. I'm just south of Denver here in Lone Tree. There's more than one tree though, so don't be fooled.
Good try. Good try at that joke, buddy. I appreciate it. So what we're trying to do here with this podcast, the reason why it's called Fit for All Ages, is because Zach and I are in the fitness game, but we have two different levels where we're doing that. Whereas I'm teaching fitness to younger kids because I'm a PE teacher, Zach is teaching fitness to, as he said, like teenagers and even older adults. And so we thought it'd be really interesting to make this kind of podcast because we are both in the job of teaching fitness to people, but just in so many different ages. And that could be a fun, interesting conversation of how we would go about different topics and everything like that. So that's kind of why we decided to make this Fit for All Ages podcast. This is the first episode, so bear with us as we try to figure out a format here. We just kind of wanted to introduce ourselves a little bit, so this one might be shorter than other episodes that we make in the past. But that being said, also is a good excuse so that I can talk to my buddy that I haven't seen in goodness knows how long. So
3 years?
I think because I visited you in January for New Year's, so that would have been like 2019 New Year's. So it's been
18 or 19? 19, yeah.
It was 19. So it's been over almost 2 years at this point since I've seen you in person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of good to kind of have a nice little conversation with our buddies. We, to kind of give us a background on how we know each other, we both went to Missouri State, like we said. We met in a fraternity there. And so Zach left the fraternity partway through, but we still were friends through that. And then we at one point were also roommates during that time in college. So we've also lived together at that point in time as well, until I had to move out to come take this job in California. And then Zach still had one more year he had to go through in college. And so now we've been both working, thankfully, throughout this time. And so just real quick, Zach, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
I know you had lost your job at your old place, correct? Have you gotten another job now?
So I guess lost or left, but I'm now kind of in practice on my own. So I made an LLC. I can take clients in person, online, in my garage, in their garage, kind of whatever the setup calls for, especially in these unusual times. Everyone's got different comfort levels with kind of being in person. Some people still want to wear masks at home, you know, in the garage, whatever, just around people who are coming in from the outside. But it's given me more freedom to kind of branch out into this here fitness space, do things like this.
So what's the name of that fitness company, just so you can plug yourself a little bit there?
I started Mousetrap Strength.
Okay.
It's an LLC. So still working on a logo. It's coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, were you able to find somebody to get that done for you?
Emily and I are talking to a designer from New York, somewhere, Plattsburgh area.
All right.
So someone her brother knows.
Okay. So good. Maybe you can get them to do the logo for us, because I couldn't get the person I was trying to get to do the logo to do it.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
Once we she's still working. So, but yes.
Yeah. So there you go. That could be a kind of helpful thing there.
Notes in my notepad.
Notes in notepad. There you go. Let's see.
So I was thinking, you're kind of more on like the front end almost with like education, teaching kids how to work out like before they get to me, basically.
Yeah.
So I have some folks who are more active and some who are like, hey, I want to start working out. What's this about? What do I do? How do I do this?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of interesting. You get almost a better opportunity, maybe not better, but different.
I mean, I'm taking kids of all different kinds of fitness levels, and even like, especially even like at the kindergarten level, I'm doing like, we're learning how to skip. We're learning how to walk in a straight line. Like, we're learning the very basic stuff, because some of these kids, all these kids, if you're in kindergarten, you're a 5-year-old, you've only really been walking or moving for like 4 years. So it's like, you have no idea what's going on. If I try to say hop on one foot, they're like, I don't know how to do that. And so we have to like go over. And so it's a lot of like really basic stuff where it's like what you said, like I'm on the front end of it. I'm teaching the most like basic stuff with movement and fitness. So that way, hopefully when they get older, they want to maybe come to a person like you and be able to increase their fitness through maybe going to the gym or doing exercise or playing a sport or whatever they want to do. So it is kind of interesting that my job kind of almost feeds into yours, because I'm like starting that fitness journey, and then you're trying to like take it and keep it going, which is very interesting.
I've had some clients who, like, the first thing that they'll say to me too is like, well, I always hated gym class, so hopefully you're a better teacher than their teachers were.
Yeah, we've been having to deal with those teachers for a long time. We call them the roll out the ball coach. It's like, here's a basketball, go play. I don't want to deal with you anymore. You know, the PE teacher that you look at and they say, go run, and that guy looks like he can't run 10 feet without getting winded or just anything like that. So definitely I don't do that. We're definitely teaching skills. I'm teaching exercise. We're teaching lessons. I try to keep myself in relatively good shape so that way I can demonstrate half the stuff I'm talking about. So working on stuff like hand-eye coordination, foot-eye coordination, different things like that, which are important to do really anything. So I'm definitely doing a lot more skills teaching than most PE teachers are doing the right thing, but there are those PE teachers out there that they're just kind of there because they want to coach a sport, or they don't really care, and they're just like, this was the easiest job I could find, and so let me just be a PE teacher.
Right. So if you're teaching like skipping and walking, you got to teach running to some degree, right? Like, how would you start with that? For granted, I suppose.
It's I don't really, unless there's some kind of like issue, I don't really have to teach. Like, hopefully every kid that I get to me has the ability to walk, and if they don't, then I work around that. Just if it's like a disability or something like that. But walking and running are pretty easy to kind of go through because they're kind of already gotten that down by just developing. Because if hopefully by then they've learned how to walk, if they've learned how to walk, eventually they're like, I want to try running.
Right.
A lot of it is kind of just like practice, especially with the younger kids. It's a lot of like going over, especially like the hardest thing for a kindergartner to do, I've realized, is to skip.
Really?
Because it's a lot of different steps. Like, you think about it, you have to take a step with your foot, and then you also then have to, instead of keeping that momentum going onto your other foot, you then have to hop on that same foot that you just stepped with. So It's two movements in one, which can be difficult. And so you'll get a lot of times, I'll be like, all right, we're going to skip. And you'll see kindergartners, even some first graders, still running, or maybe they're hopping on one foot, or even a lot of them will gallop because they think that that's a skip.
Yeah, kind of like a one-sided skip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so really it's just kind of working our way up to that. So I would start with like, here's hopping, here's galloping, here's jogging, here's jumping. My biggest thing I have an issue with is I have to explain the difference between a jump and a hop, because they use that interchangeably.
I see. How would you describe the difference between?
So like a jump is you start on 2 feet, you land on 2 feet.
Okay.
And a hop is you're hopping on 1 foot.
Ah, okay.
Like, you're hopping on the same foot. And so people use that interchangeably, and so that's sometimes hard to like re-practice a little bit.
I see. Interesting. It's like, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is teaching like a box jump.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they want to take off on the 1 foot and land like 1 foot, 2 foot. Mm-hmm. And the hardest thing is to get them to take off and then land. Mm-hmm. They kind of want to do this like step forward and almost like a skip or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, I see that a lot too whenever I'm like trying to explain jump forward, and then they take off on 1 foot and then they land, and it's that like 1 foot over. So that's kind of a thing where they have to learn out of that. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a lot. Let's see.
Do you tackle any kind of nutrition with your kids?
I actually just today, just to kind of, for those that don't watch, like, I'm putting this up on my YouTube channel. I make YouTube videos now, basically. I still have my job at the elementary schools, but with everything going on, I make videos for them to do for their PE instead of actually doing a PE. I could do a Zoom, but there's like issues with if a kid's parents aren't home and they have an asthma attack or something, then that's like a big problem that I can't do anything about. So, or like they hurt themselves and there's nobody there to watch them. Like it's just a liability thing. So I actually just made, it's not out yet, I just made a video today talking about the basics into what nutrition is and into like macronutrients. So proteins, carbs, and fats, kind of like going into the basics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do a little nutrition with them. It's not technically in my job description to do that, but I like to do it. So, because it makes them realize that you can move all you want to, but if you're not eating the right things, like that's not going to help you in the long run as much as it could be.
Gotta fuel appropriately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That could be challenging. I'm sure they have a lot of interesting favorite foods.
Yeah.
Do you know any of their favorite foods?
Takis.
Takis.
Takis are the big one. Those are huge.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll see kids, back when I had regular school, you'll see kids walking around with like whole bags of them and they'll be gone by the end of the day. Like it's just.
It's a big bag.
Yeah. So.
They are.
Yeah. It's any kind of potato chip. Like the Cheetos, like for some reason, I don't know, maybe it's the area that I live in. We're in California, in Southern California. They all like the hot.
Oh man.
They all like the hot chips.
I know those aren't like that hot, but for me, woof.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah.
That's funny. I would call that like a pretty carby and fatty snack too.
Yes, very.
I think most chips have like 8 grams of fat per serving, 18 to 20 carbs. That's like. Yeah, you gotta. So yeah, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're all pumped up after that coming to your PE.
Yeah, and then I have the same issue with because it's a school, so they serve like how elementary school was. You got lunch and you got a carton of milk.
Yes.
And then they're expected then after getting that lunch to come out in the desert where I live in like 95-degree weather. And come do exercise after they just drank an entire carton of milk.
Oh man.
So I get the tummy aches and I get the my stomach hurts, I'm tired, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So food is definitely a big thing that I try to work on them with that. Like bring a water bottle, don't drink the milk. You have PE after lunch. Don't drink the milk, please. Like it's gonna just make you sick.
Oh. That sounds fun.
Yeah. These are things that you don't have to deal with when dealing with adults. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you have an adult that's like, oh, my stomach hurts.
No, not usually. Usually the biggest thing with adult clients is like, oh, I forgot to eat. I'm about to black out. And you're like, oh, so let's talk about when you need to eat, right? Because everyone wants to eat less, but sometimes you need to. Or one of my guys will just like eat some protein bars and stuff, and he's like got him sitting in his stomach, and he's like, I don't know. You almost use it as like a measure on the workout, though. Like he's like, oh man, they're about to come up. It's like, oh, okay, we're going pretty hard today. We're pushing some lactate through, so just breathe through it. That's funny. Oh man. I haven't had anybody lose their cookies in the gym though, so.
That's good.
But have you?
I wish I could say that. I mean, I normally have a first grade class that comes in right after lunch. So you get a bunch of 6-year-olds out there and they start running and things will happen. And there'll be some times I'll have to call in the janitor and be like, everybody stay, like put cones around it and be like, everybody stay away from there.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a hazard of the job with working with kids is that somebody may get sick.
Yeah, and they're young.
Halfway through.
Imagining that their lactate threshold is at that point just mostly genetic, like how much lactic acid they can handle is just going to be based on their family history. because you haven't had time to like develop that system for them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Do you want to expand on what you're talking about with like the lactic acid thing?
Um, I should probably review it better. Basically, lactic acid, as your coach used to say, is lactate, which that's what happens when you start running out of oxygen and you kind of get that short of breath feeling where you start to get that burning sensation in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically when you push that too far, you exceed your lactate threshold, and then it has to go kind of into your stomach. And then you get this really sour stomach, and then it has to come out.
Hmm.
You can't process any more lactate.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can train for, but it just takes time, and they're young.
Yeah. Definitely. I say that's something that everybody has to kind of work on, I guess, because I mean, any kind of exercise you do, you're going to start feeling that way. You're going to start feeling gross.
Yep.
And then that's also the same stuff that causes like your muscles to start feeling sore and cramping, right?
Basically, yeah, you get that burny sensation again. Some of it's due to the damage kind of from the workout, but again, that burning is usually just kind of a lactate related thing, and it's a like a safety thing basically for your body. It keeps you from pushing to a point where you're gonna get hurt.
Okay. It's definitely good information right there. We're definitely I feel like there's gonna be a lot of dead air. There's gonna be a lot of we're trying to kind of work this out, and there's going to be some moments where we may have some pauses, and that's okay, because we're just still trying. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still having a conversation with my buddy, so it still helps me out there. But we're just still trying to work out the kinks with this. As we get better at this, I'm sure that these episodes are just going to breeze by, and there's not going to be any big weird long pauses like there has been on this one. So
We can edit those out, right?
Sure, but I probably won't, just because it's endearing. Like it shows like this was the first time they did this, and you can kind of see progress as you go along.
Right.
If I try to make it look weirdly polished from the very beginning, like it's not gonna have the same effect as just two buddies having a conversation about their careers as it would.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. Oh, there's my dog. We're back, recording from our homes at this point in time. There's going to be distractions, so there was kind of a little bit of a distraction there. So we're back, and we're going to kind of wrap this up a little bit. We are going to start with we're going to try to end every podcast with a segment we both kind of came up with, which is called Explain It Like I'm 5. Kind of the basis behind this is that Zach works in, more advanced levels of fitness than I do. And so he has some terms that he might be explaining to more of his adult clients that they're going to be able to understand. And so and I wouldn't be able to explain it that way. So what he's going to do is he's going to come up with a more advanced fitness term or exercise term, and then explain it to me how he would explain it to like one of his clients. And then I have to explain it back in a way like I would with one of my kindergartners, which is why it's called Explain It Like I'm 5. Okay, so, all right, so Zach, what you got?
What do you think? What should we talk about?
You're the one coming up with the exercise thing, man. This is on you.
Let's see. So I guess the most important thing with exercise would kind of be like dosing your exercise.
Okay.
So a lot of people just want to go hard 6 to 7 days a week, and they kind of get this burnout phenomenon where they end up not recovering, more or less, I guess. So dosing your exercise in a way that makes sense for whatever your goals are. So for example, I guess resistance training, a lot of people want to build some big, cool muscles. And they think the best way to do that is to lift every day, all day. But where the growth actually happens is in that downtime between those sessions. So if we kind of break up the doses of exercise, maybe 4 times a week, seems to be a really good spot for a lot of people, actually. They get more time to recover. They don't get stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, which is that kind of fight or flight. I guess maybe we could talk about sympathetic versus parasympathetic, actually.
You can keep going with what you're doing, man. This is good. This is good.
So your sympathetic nervous system is that fight or flight, right? Where you're like, whoa, let's go. Just whatever it is. You're really excited. Your heart rate is up there. You're breathing fast, that kind of thing. And that's cool. But if you stay there for a long time, you're going to get really, really tired and really worn out. So we need to get back into what's called the parasympathetic, which is where your breathing kind of slows down and your heart rate comes back down and you're able to kind of rest and relax, rest and digest, if you will. So that's probably, I think, the most important concept to grasp before we start exercising.
All right. So
how's that?
That's good, man. And all right, I think I got how I'm gonna do it. And just fair warning, I'm going to do this like I would my kindergarten class. So you'd be
Awesome.
ready for me to be very animated and very like all over the place.
Can't wait.
And so, because that's what they respond to. If I sit here and I talk like this all the time, then they're gonna be like, I don't know what this guy's doing. I'm just gonna pay attention to the bird. So, all right, here we go. Here we go. All right. Okay. Hey, boys and girls. So here is the big deal. Everybody knows that exercise is super important, right? Yeah, exercise is super important. And so you think that if you exercise a whole bunch, it's going to make you super, super, super strong, and it's going to make you super fast, and it's going to make you in such good shape and everything else. But if we exercise all the time and all we're doing is exercise, and we never stop exercising, we're just never giving ourselves a chance to have a break, that's not going to do all that we need to, because our bodies need to take a rest in order to get better. All right? You need to be able to take some time to let your muscles, oh, I'm so sore. If you keep working through sore muscles, they're not going to get any bigger. They're just going to stay nice and small, or they're not going to get bigger than they should be. And so there are a couple of things out there that are a part of our nervous system. This is the part of our bodies that tells the rest of our bodies what to do. Our brains send thoughts into the nervous system, and then it sends it to the rest of our body for us to be able to move around. And so what we're going to do, don't make me laugh, I'm doing a good job here, okay, is learn about the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, those are really big words, but they're really, really easy. What you're going to do, the sympathetic nervous system is that feeling whenever you're feeling super scared and it's like, oh, I gotta run, okay? There's something chasing me, I don't like it. If you had a big test that you're about ready to do, or maybe something comes up and scares you, it's that really fast heartbeat inside your body, and you start sweating, and maybe you feel scared. And so if you're always exercising all the time, you're gonna be stuck in there, and that's not a good place to be. We don't wanna be there all the time. Where you want to be is in the parasympathetic nervous system, where that's where we're calm, we're cool, we're chilling, we're relaxed. And so we can take that time to let our muscles and our bodies recover and build better and build stronger. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that takes a lot out of me to do that.
Dude, that's awesome. I don't know how you do it.
I do 30 minutes at one school in kindergarten and 50 minutes at another school for kindergarten. So I gotta be on for a good long while. It takes a lot out of me.
That's sympathetic right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. All right. Well, I think this turned out pretty all right. We'll see what people think about it. And before we're ending, let's plug ourselves so people like can know where to find us. So maybe so Zach, where's like your socials and like how can they find your LLC and anything like that? And then also have links in the description and at the end of the video version of this podcast where you can go and find all that stuff too. So where can they find you, Zach?
My business is at Mousetraps. At Mousetrap_strength.
Okay.
And then my other Instagram is at Flint with a Y _Z. Probably going to post more on that business side of things, though. Again, that Mousetrap_strength. And I'm also on Facebook under that same at Mousetrap_strength. So.
Okay. And then you can find me on Instagram at PEW Mr. Schilling, and that Mr. is the MR. So if you type in at Pew Mr. Schilling, then you're going to be able to find that. And that's this.
PE with.
It's PE with, but I put the W instead of with just because I thought that was more fun.
I like the Pew.
Pew Mr. Schilling is where you'd find me. And then the same for my Twitter as well, where I'll post some different things like that. So it's PE with PEW Mr. Schilling. You'll be able to find me on that as well. And also on my YouTube channel, which is just Adam Schilling. If you type that in and you find my face, because there's a couple of Adam Schillings out there, you will find the videos that I make as well.
For that face, that gorgeous face.
Thank you. Oh, am I up where you're at on the Zoom call?
You are on mine. Maybe you're down below. Am I pointing at you now?
No, I am to your left.
He's over there.
There you go. There you go. There you go. All right. So that is it. And I hope you all enjoy the podcast. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.